Football comes home yet again. England have retained their European Championship title after they came from a goal down against world champions Spain before winning 3-1 in the penalty shootout. As has been the case on so many occasions, Chloe Kelly was the woman of the moment, smashing home the winning penalty. England had the best of the early chances with Alessia Russo and Lauren Hemp both coming close, but it was Spain who took the lead through Arsenal's Mariona Caldente. England pushed for an equaliser and got it with just over half an hour left. Kelly's cross headed in by Russo. It stayed 1-1 after 90 minutes, which meant extra time. Neither side could find a winner, so into penalties it went. Beth Mead took the first one. She scored but slipped on the run-up, meant she had to take it again. Mead then missed the retake. Hannah Hampton saved 2 penalties before Leah Williamson saw her penalty saved. Salma Parueo fired her effort wide and Chloe Kelly scored the winner for England. And the Chelsea goalkeeper Becky Spencer has watched all of that, stressfully lost about 5 years of her life, I thought, over the last couple of hours or so. Put this achievement into words for women's football in this country.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, it probably won't sink in for a long time of the magnitude of what they've just done. To win back-to-back European, winning the European Championships back-to-back is an amazing feat. I don't think, it's not easy. And you can see by this tournament as well, like we didn't know, in the quarterfinals or the semi-finals whether they were going to make it. But this team have just found a way to win, and it was kind of written in the stars for them to get this far and to win the final.
You said there that it didn't look likely at times in the quarter-final or the semi-final. That opening game defeat to France seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And even from that moment as well, it's just, but as I said earlier on today, I said it's just their mentality. And I think it's something that Serena's probably, given into the players. She's drafted this, she's well-oiled within finals. She's won so many. I think this is her 5th now. So I think it's coming from like a team environment. They all look like they're having a great time over there. And I think there was only one winner tonight. And, Spain played a great game. But when it came to mentality and when it came to fate, I think England were going to always win this game.
It feels, and you would know better than me, that it was the 2 best teams, not just in Europe, but the 2 best women's teams in the world playing against each other tonight. And to steal a phrase from a popular final a few years ago in another sport, it was the barest of margins that decided it. Did you always think that there was a chance it could go this far?
Yeah, I mean, both teams were cancelling each other out. The momentum was shifting from side to side quite a lot. Spain had many more chances than England did, but they never really materialised into anything. So you knew it was going to be a cagey affair. And it was just whoever had, who could last the longest. And obviously the England players were knackered. You had Lucy Bronze, they were literally dead on their feet, running and doing whatever. But it just shows you utilising the squad and making subs at important times means a hell of a lot.
Let's pick out some of the stars. We'll talk about Chloe Kelly in just a moment, but we'll start with the goalkeeper, given that is your area of expertise. Yep. Hannah Hampton, with 2 big saves from 2 of the world's best players. Yep. She has shown why she deserved to be England's #1 in this tournament. Yeah,
I mean, she's been outstanding, literally. I'm so proud of her. She's my teammate, and we've spoken throughout the tournament a little bit, and I've just been really proud of her. And she's matured over this last tournament, and she's just shown what she's about. She's brought something completely different to this England side because she's so good with her feet. So she's had a couple of assists to add to her her heroics tonight. So for me, Hannah's been amazing, and she deserves this moment. She was put under a hell of a lot of pressure before the tournament. And I think, she's been the keeper of the tournament and she's had a fantastic tournament.
Do you think, you touched on the pressure she was on before she went into the tournament, and it is a big thing being told you're the #1 ahead of someone like Mary Earps, who then goes on to announce her retirement just before the tournament starts, that there was ever a moment that would have been in her mind that you think, I better not mess this one up, because we know the type of goalkeeper who isn't here and could have been here and could have been the #1 still.
Yeah, I mean, people made it tough for her, and I feel like, fans from the outside, obviously Mary was a household name and everyone was used to how Mary was, but Hannah, with her own right, she brings something completely different, like I said just now. And, she needs to, warm into this character, warm into her role and have her own spin on stuff. It may be different from what Mary was given. But today she's just shown that she is, one of the world's best goalkeepers. She's been the best goalkeeper in the WSL for the whole season. And again, she's shown tonight her qualities.
And just on the point about the build-up to the tournament, we mentioned Mary Earps there. Fran Kirby retired as well. Millie Bright made herself unavailable. There was a moment when you saw all that, then that opening game against France, where you thought, this could potentially be a bit of a disaster, this tournament. And actually, Sarina Wiegman, I'm sure, stayed calm and has guided England to becoming champions again.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, a few frailties in England's play over the last month or so. Defensively, they haven't looked, the best all the time. Going forward, just like where they're going to create chances. And, I feel like these players that didn't go to the Euros, they're big names and they're players that have been around for years. And at some point, things do have to change. And it's allowed, room for Michelle Adjumand to come on the scene and have a fantastic tournament at the age of 19. What she's done for England over the past month has been amazing.
I'll come to Adjumand shortly. Let's talk about the woman who scored the winning penalty. Nerves of steel, the woman for the big occasion, however many times, the finalissima, the last Euros, again today. And we touched on it, I think, when it was just about to go into extra time. I've lost track of where we were when we last had a chat, but that players love these moments, and it seems no one more than Chloe Kelly.
Yeah, and she seems very calm. She's always playing with a smile on her face. And, she came on a lot earlier in this game, and straight away she made the impact with the assists, from the get-go. And then for her to score the 5th penalty, just to win the Euros again, is just an amazing achievement for her.
We are just about to see Leah Williamson lift the trophy for the 2nd time in her career, twice a European Championship winning captain. She does it alongside Keira Walsh, and for someone who knows Leah, this must be an incredible moment for her. All of those girls actually have just written their name in history once again.
Yeah, and you get some players that don't get always the credit, and they're not always at the forefront of the media. The likes of Keira Walsh, Georgia Stanway, Alex Greenwood, they're all players that were at the last Euros. And then they're here again today, and I'm like, they've put in such a shift. And a lot of these players are tired. You've gone off the back of a season that's been jam-packed. Some of these players have played in the Champions League final, but they're still here now, and they still managed to lift the Euros.
You mentioned Michelle Adjumand. I mean, the star of the tournament in many people's eyes, despite the fact she didn't spend too many minutes on the field of play. She certainly made an impact. I mean, the future looks incredibly bright for her, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's come at the right time, and I hope that, she can just embrace this, because it's such an experience for such a young player to come into this. And she probably didn't think that she was going to come on and make all of these appearances and do what she's done. But I think I saw, maybe it's like an interview with her the other day, and she almost predicted everything that she was going to do at these Euros, and she's come out and she's done it.
Someone else we were talking about just off air at one point earlier this evening is Jess Carter, who's had some very difficult moments throughout the course of this tournament, but just tweaked the position slightly, and tonight was excellent. Yeah,
she showed up today. She was making some last-minute, last-ditch tackles. she looked like a warrior out there, and she looked a bit more herself, and she thought, nah, put everything that's gone on behind her. She needs to concentrate on this game, and she had a fantastic game today.
I think it was already confirmed before this final, it was confirmed that Sarina Wiegman will become a Dame, and alongside Sir Gareth Southgate, it will be Dame Sarina Wiegman. Just sum up, if you can, her impact on English football as a whole, not just the Lionesses.
Yeah, I mean, even with the WSL, if the Lionesses do well, it shifts the momentum back onto the WSL. So it's like, now she's done all of this. You've got men, you've got young boys, girls, women. You've got so many different people coming into it now and enjoying the women's game. And I think it's made it, excitable again in the English game.
You're watching them all celebrate now. I mean, these are the moments. And as someone who would have had great celebrations with Chelsea at the end of the season, I mean, this is you put yourself through the dark nights, through the times when perhaps there wasn't as much of a spotlight on women's football, and probably for the players there, it's all been worth it for nights like this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've played in the women's game for a long time now, and I remember turning up to stadiums when there was 5 people and their dog sitting there. So to see now that it's getting the most views, and millions of people are watching it and tuning in all over the world, and and England are. They're the forefront at it, and I think it's just amazing for the country. And I hope that the fans, a lot of fans have spent a lot of money going over to Switzerland and spent a long time over there, taking time off work and stuff like that. So I hope that they can all embrace it, because this is their moment.
Final couple of questions, because you have been here for about 12 hours now, so we will let you go home at some point, Becky, I promise. It's interesting that there's been this sort of quiet transition that as you said, a lot of the key players from the last few years actually haven't been here, and you wonder what the squad might look like moving forward, as to whether this is what it's going to be, as to whether, I mean, again, you would know whether you think Millie might be back as an England player?
Yeah, Millie took the opportunity to sort herself out. Her knee wasn't right. She had surgery on the knee. She's not been quiet about that. And, mentally she wanted to be in a better space. And I think there should be a space where players are allowed to do that. We forget that Millie's been playing for a long time. When does she ever really get a summer to actually focus on herself and what she needs? So she's made that choice, and hopefully we see her in an England shirt again. But, who knows?
And now I'm going to do this thing, a really annoying thing at the end of a night like this, and say this is great, and obviously successive Euros titles, and we touched on the fact that this is probably the best two teams in the world, but the manager and this group of players will want to go and win a World Cup now.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing. It's obviously the missing part to the England trophy cabinet. So, going into a World Cup in 2027 is something that they're going to have their eyes on, and they were so close, but yet so far in the last World Cup final. So I think now they'll enjoy this moment for as long as they need to, and then they've got 2027 to look forward to.